Welcome to today's episode of Weirdos Like Me. I am your chief weirdo, Dr. Shannon. Today, we're going to be talking all about minimalism. What is it, the history behind it, the benefits, the challenges, and ways to get started on your minimalism journey if this sounds like it might be something for you. So minimalism is a lifestyle that emphasizes living with less. It's about decluttering your belongings, simplifying your life, and focusing on what's truly important to you, whatever that may be. There are a lot of different ways to practice minimalism, but some of the most common principles include getting rid of anything that doesn't bring you joy or serve a purpose, investing in high quality items that will last so you don't have to keep getting new things, creating a clutter-free home environment. Again, your home is an extension of your energy field, so creating clutter-free home helps you remain less anxious and helps keep you and your nervous system calm. And then last but not least, spending more time on experiences and relationships and less time on material possessions. So I wanted to know what the heck started this whole minimalism thing, right? I mean, honestly, the theory has been around for a long time, but it really gained popularity in the early 2000s. Some of the earliest proponents, if you want to go back about minimalism, is the Quakers, who believed in living simply and avoiding material possessions. They're like the OG minimalists, right? I started researching this because I was just curious. And then I also found out that the Japanese have a concept of wabi-sabi, and I probably said that terribly wrong. So I'm so sorry, but I'm just going to say it with my like half New York, half Southern, whatever accent I have, wabi-sabi. Anyway, so this celebrates the beauty of imperfection, which is also closely related to minimalism. So this whole thought process behind wabi-sabi is that you want to celebrate the beauty of imperfection, the beauty of impermanence, and asymmetry. So this is why it's seen as a form of minimalism, because it emphasizes living with less and appreciating what you have and appreciating the simple things in life. So personally, I believe one of the closest links between the two is the acceptance of impermanence. So wabi-sabi teaches us to accept the fact that everything is impermanent. This means everything is going to eventually break down. Everything will eventually change. In minimalism, we learn to live in the present moment and appreciate the things that we have, even if they're not permanent, or in spite of the fact that they're not permanent, I guess I should say instead. There are differences between wabi-sabi and minimalism in the fact that wabi-sabi is more about appreciating the beauty of imperfection, while minimalism is more about living with less. However, both philosophies share a lot of similarities, and they can both be helpful in creating a more simple and meaningful life. Now, something that is so not minimalism is its opposite, right? Which is maximalism. Yes, that is a thing. So maximalism is a lifestyle that emphasizes having more. It's about embracing the clutter and embracing the chaos and surrounding yourself with as many possessions as possible. There are pros and cons to both. Minimalism can help you simplify your life and reduce stress, but it can also be seen as boring or restrictive. But I'll get into more on that in a second. Maximalism can be fun and exciting, but it can also lead to overconsumption and clutter. So pros and cons, right? Pick your poison. Now, regarding minimalism being boring and restrictive, personally, I find it to be quite the opposite if you're doing it for the right reasons. Minimalism is about living with intention. And when you're talking about your home or your environment, curating a space that reflects your values and your priorities. It doesn't have to be boring necessarily. It can actually be very creative, and it can be totally expressive of you. For example, a minimalist home can still be decorated. Like there's some theory that if you live a minimalist lifestyle, you don't have anything in your house. You can, right? Like that's fine. But you can still decorate. You can decorate with art, plants, and other personal touches that are you, right? When it comes to a minimalist wardrobe, also thought of as pretty boring. Now, you guys know me, I have my work outfit and I keep that minimalist. I guess it could be boring. I don't know. It just helps create space in my brain for other things versus thinking about putting outfits together. But You can create a minimalist wardrobe with classic pieces that can be mixed and matched to create lots and lots of different looks. Minimalists have this thing called capsule wardrobes, and you can get dozens of looks from having just a few pieces of clothing that you can mix and match. So it doesn't have to be boring, right? A minimalist lifestyle can be full of adventure and exploration because people who live minimally tend to have more time and more financial freedom to travel and experience things in life because they're not spending it on material possessions, if that makes sense. Now, minimalism also doesn't mean you have to live in a vanilla shell, like what we were talking about before when it comes to decorations. You can use colors and patterns. You don't have to have everything white, which is what all the minimalist bloggers have out there. I say this, and this bookshelf back here is white, but you know what I mean. You can use colors, you can use patterns, you can use these things that help drive home your minimalist efforts because it actually draws attention. So think about it this way. If your place was super cluttered and you had these really cool, like, throw pillows that you just got on your couch that you absolutely loved, and they were like quirky and they were full of color and patterns and really cool. But if your place was super cluttered and in order to get to the couch to see the pillows, you were tripping over clothes, shoes, backpacks, toys, and you had like 8,000 other things lying around, your brain, when you walk into that room, couldn't even begin to process the colorful patterned pillows over there because you're just trying to figure out what's right here because there's so many other things. But if there are no other clutter distractions, your brain can instantly focus on the accent pieces. And then your brain processes the joy that was meant to come from those pieces. Actually, really cool. So ultimately, whether or not minimalism is boring is up to the individual. It doesn't have to be a standardized thing. There are a ton of benefits to living a minimalist lifestyle. And some of them include reduced stress and anxiety, because when you have less clutter in your life, you have less to worry about. You don't have to worry about keeping track of everything. You don't have to worry about things getting lost or damaged because you can't find them. You don't have to clean it all. For real. This is like huge for busy people, right? So this actually kind of goes into another benefit of minimalism. You have a more clean and a more organized home naturally. I feel bad for everyone who spends their entire weekend just cleaning or catching up. Like, if you want to talk about fun and having fun, where's the fun in that? You shouldn't have to dedicate your only free time as an indentured servant to your things in your home. For me, if I can't tidy my room, my entire room, in less than 10 minutes, then I know I either have too many things and I need to start doing a purge, or if I don't have too many items and they're all necessary and useful, then it means that my items don't have a proper home, air quotes, meaning like I keep everything in a basket, in a drawer, on a shelf. Everything has a place, a known place. And if it's out of place, it's very easy to pick out and to put it back. Even my 3-year-old knows where everything goes and helps me tidy up a room. And if things are out of place and out of their home, she can pick it up and put it back because we've structured our home that way, to make it quick and easy and efficient. And then I get her involved in helping out with the process too, which is very handy. Also, for me, I should be able to do a wipe down, quick sweep, spot mop of everything in a room in less than 10 minutes. And I leave the deep clean for, I don't know, like once a month or so, things like baseboards, doors, legit scrub mopping, those kind of things. Because I just, if you're cleaning every single day, little bits, you don't get that huge buildup at the end of the weekend where everything's a disaster. Now, this is my situation for my toddler and I, right? Obviously, if you have multiple kids and you have multiple animals and you have husbands, JK, but not really, you may have to adjust this. But my point is, it shouldn't take you hours just to do basic tidying and wipe downs. So if I dedicate for myself 15 to 20 minutes of general tidying and cleaning per day, which by the way, can be broken up. You don't even have to do 20 minutes of just cleaning. You can do 5 minutes in the morning before you go to work. And then you do 5 minutes when you get home from work. And then you do 10 minutes after the kids go to bed, which is pretty much what I do. No, I actually do 10 minutes before she goes to bed because I get Bexley involved to help me out. So parenting hack right there, make your kids help you. So if I do that every single day, I don't have to spend half to an entire day on the weekend cleaning just for it to get totally destroyed a day later. Another benefit is you have increased focus and productivity. So when you have less clutter in your environment, you're able to focus more easily. You're not distracted by all these unnecessary things, and then you can stay on track more easily. And for me, I get very distracted if I have things everywhere. Like I have to make sure my environment is in order, and then I can kind of tune in and do what I need to do. Minimalism also can help improve relationships. If you have less clutter in your life and you have less time, that's not what I mean. If you spend less time cleaning and decluttering and doing all these things, then you have more time and you have more energy to do the things that matter most to you. And this could be spending time with your loved ones. It could be pursuing your own hobbies. It could be volunteering, giving back to your community. So this will lead to a more what did I just say? Lead, whatever I just said. This can lead to a more fulfilling life because you actually have time to do what you want to do versus just being in this endless cycle of cleaning and tidying and over and over and over again. This leads to increased peace of mind. When you live with less, you end up becoming more aware of what's important to you. You are constantly bombarded with advertising and marketing messages, but they kind of just, go over your shoulder, over your head. Oh my gosh, what am I trying to say today, guys? Anyway, it just rolls off your shoulder. Like you're like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't really need that. I have this that does that. So like, I don't need it. And then you're not constantly comparing yourself to others, which can lead to an inner sense of peace and contentment, which is really awesome. And then last but not least, another benefit of minimalism is the potential for more time and for more money. So if you're not spending your money on things, you tend to have more financial freedom to either save for other things or spend it on experiences that mean a lot to you and your family. So there's a lot of benefits, but there are also challenges, right? As is with anything. So I did a podcast a couple months ago called Decluttering from Chaos to Clarity. And I go into details about a lot of these challenges. So go back and check that one out if you haven't yet. But to sum it up really quickly for this episode, when people start on a minimalism journey, a lot of times they have a really hard time letting go of things, learning to live with less, and then dealing with peer pressure about what you should or shouldn't have. So again, another one of those, comparison that tends to be really, really hard. And you have to just be okay being you. And you don't have to have what so-and-so has to be happy, right? And then there's that FOMO thing, fear of missing out. You feel like if you don't have this item, you're going to be missing out on something. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying you should never buy anything for yourself and that you shouldn't have things ever. Like, I'm not saying that at all, but make sure what you are spending your money on, which you guys, you work, you spend your time. So you're not just spending money, you're spending your time, your life, your experience on these items. Make sure you're trading your time for things that actually bring you joy and not just because you need to match what so-and-so has. I hope that makes sense the way I said that. Now, if you are just getting into this whole minimalism thing, there are a couple things that might help you get started. So number one, start by decluttering your home. Take it one room at a time. Again, in that decluttering podcast, I go into more details about this, but the general gist is get rid of anything that you don't use or absolutely love, okay? It's really also a good thing to start investing in higher quality items that are gonna last. And I had to do this when it came to clothing. So I had to be okay saying I was gonna spend a little bit more on these pants, but these pants were gonna last me like years. And And it did, right? Whereas before I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to spend that. And then I would like rip the pants, or they would have holes in them, or whatever it was, much, much sooner. And then I just had to go out and buy new ones. So, if possible, everybody's situation is a little bit different, but investing in higher quality things that are going to last you is going to help you on your minimalism journey as well. And then spending more time on experiences and relationships is another strategy to do it. So think about the things that you want for your life. What are some of the trips you might want to go on? What are some of the hobbies you might want to try out? What are some of the things you want to do with you and your kids? And then say, okay, how do I get more of that in my life? And that honestly will help you start on your minimalism and your decluttering journey, because anything that doesn't fit that paradigm is just no longer going to be as important to spend your time and energy on. So wrapping it up, minimalism, it's a lifestyle that can offer a lot of benefits, but it's not for everybody. If you find that living with less makes you more stressed and more anxious, then minimalism is probably not the right lifestyle for you. And that's totally okay, right? But for a lot of people, living with less actually helps you focus on what's truly important. And then it lets you appreciate the simpler things in life. So if this sounds appealing, then minimalism might be a very rewarding way to live for you. If you're interested in starting it, start by decluttering your home and doing some of the things we talked about earlier. And then you can kind of go from there, right? With a little effort, you can start implementing more minimalism into your lifestyle. All right, guys, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Weirdos Like Me. If you're not already in the Weirdos Like Me Facebook group, go ahead and join so we can continue this and many other conversations. And if you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything in the future. And I also really, really appreciate your ratings and reviews, and your support helps me keep creating free content for you guys. So you can follow Weirdos Like Me on social media at Weirdos Like Me on TikTok. And for now, that's a wrap. I am your chief weirdo, Dr. Shannon. I will see you guys in the next episode of Weirdos Like Me.